What's up, everybody? So today we are talking about the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. And so for those of you that are not familiar, it is something put together by Ray from Philly, who's a fellow YouTuber. And every year he puts together a ballot, and you go and anyone can vote for this. And I will put a link below for anyone that wants to vote. I think the voting ends mid-May. I think May 16th might be the day. So it's super easy. By the way, if you want to vote, you click on the link, you select the cards that you think should get inducted this year, and then hit submit. It's really, really simple. So I highly recommend doing this. The Midlife Card Crisis and Ray, Ray from Philly, those two YouTubers just did a video recently talking about this, and Ray's been on a bunch of channels actually talking about this, and they've done a great job explaining what it's all about. So what I thought would be interesting is, now Ray has been doing this for about 6 years. So I thought it would be interesting, and there's 61 cards that are currently in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. Now, what makes up a great card, that's totally open to interpretation, and sort of like the real Hall of Fame, right? Where it could be very controversial. Do you base a card based on how iconic it is? Do you base it on how valuable it is, how valuable it will be? Do you base it off the player? You'll see in a lot of cases that some of the cards are of the greatest players of all time, but then some cards could be, Billy Ripken, who's just the brother of Cal Ripken, right? So it could be so many different ways to think about what are the greatest cards of all time. So, by the way, I did a video back in 2016. I thought I did an okay job of this back in about 7 or 8 years ago, where I put my personal take on what I thought were the 100 greatest cards of all time when I did that video. And I thought I did a pretty good job. So if anybody wants to check that out, I'll put a link to that as well. So what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to go through the 61 cards that are already in the Hall of Fame, in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. I'm going to give the 10 cards that I voted for this year, and then I'm going to throw in 5 suggestions. So Ray, I believe he has like 40 or 50 cards you can vote for every year, and so he cycles it out. There'll be, I think, 10 to 15 cards that get dropped out of the list, and then 15 new cards get added. So I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring as to 5 cards that I think belong on the ballot that are not in the Hall of Fame and are not currently on the ballot. So without further ado, let's go through the 61 cards that are already in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. So, all right, guys, so we're going to start off with the 1888 Goodwin Champions King Kelly. Such an awesome card. So happy that this made it in. I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you. If we're talking about 61 of the greatest cards, that this card made it in, but I'm very happy that it did. I think it should be in the top 61 cards of all time, but I'm a little surprised that it made it in. So I was happy to see that. Next card, how about the T205 Gold Border Christy Mathewson card? Just a beautiful card, a really tough card to get in really good grade because of the gold borders. So that is the second card. Of course, part of the inaugural class of cards that made it into the Hall of Fame. Now, like I said, Ray's been doing this for 6 years, so of course the inaugural class was probably like 10 cards. And of course, you got to have the T206 Honus Wagner, one of the greatest cards of all time. I think it's probably, top 3 cards, baseball, football, whatever, of all time, in my opinion. And of course, I will never own this card, so I'm just going to have to be happy with owning a reprint, a 1995 IMT Honus Wagner reprint, which I'm very, very happy to own. Next up is going to be the Ty Cobb, the T206 Ty Cobb. So far there have been 3 T206 cards. So it's this card, the Honus Wagner, and the third T206 is the Eddie Plank, which is a very rare card from the T206 set. So that's part of the reason why it's in there. But so far, only 3 T206 cards have made it into the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. So that is a little bit surprising. The sixth card is the 1914 Cracker Jack Ty Cobb, and then the 1915 Cracker Jack Joe Jackson. So two really, really awesome cards, the Ty Cobb and Joe Jackson, cards that I would love to own, but are probably way out of my price range. Number 8 on this list, and I'm going sort of in order of year, the M101 Babe Ruth. This of course features Babe Ruth back when he played with the Red Sox, and it's so cool that card exists, pitching for the Red Sox. Number 9 is going to be the 1933 DeLong Gehrig, and I had the opportunity to hold a DeLong Gehrig that Mr. Mike Moynihan and now owns that card from the Grail collection. All right, the next two cards, of course, from the Gowdy set, the 1933 Gowdy Babe Ruth and the 1933 Gowdy Lou Gehrig. So awesome. Now, I thought it was interesting. The only Babe Ruth that is in the Hall of Fame is this one, number 144. So there are 3 other Babe Ruths, of course, from that set that could make it in at some point, but are currently not in the Hall of Fame. But the 33 Gowdy Gehrig and the 33 Gowdy 144, that Ruth, are in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. And then from a 33 Gowdy, we also have the Nap Lajoie, which is a huge short print, and if you own that card, congratulations. That is a very expensive card. The next card, also from Gowdy, would be the 1934 Gowdy Lou Gehrig, which is an awesome card, and Vince, New York Yanks fan 7, recently added that to his collection, so congratulations to Vince. The next card, another Gowdy, is the Heads Up Gowdy Joe DiMaggio, the 1938 Gowdy Heads Up Joe DiMaggio. It is really awesome, to own a lot of these cards that are on the list. I just picked this one up last year. This is like the cartoon version. I don't think it was specified whether the cartoon or the non-cartoon version is in the Hall of Fame, but it shouldn't really matter. But this is, of course, Joe DiMaggio's, or usually considered to be Joe DiMaggio's rookie. Then a little bit of a surprise, the 1939 Play Ball Joe DiMaggio is also in the Hall of Fame, as well as the 1939 Play Ball Ted Williams are both in there. Next up is the 1948 Bowman Stan Musial and the 1948 Bowman Yogi Berra. So two really, really awesome cards of great Hall of Fame rookie cards. And next up is the 1949 Leaf Jackie Robinson. So for some reason, it was listed in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame as 49. But then, of course, here it has 48. I think there's a little bit of controversy as to when the Leaf cards came out, 48 or 49. But then in addition to the 49 Jackie Robinson, there is the 1949 Leaf Leroy Satchel Paige is also in the Hall of Fame. Next up, the 1950 Bowman Jackie Robinson. That is a card that I have absolutely had my eye on for a while now. It's almost a little surprising at this point that I haven't picked it up. I've gone for other cards. I've come very close to owning this card a couple of times, but I've had to pass. Hopefully, maybe one day at the National, maybe I'll own a 1950 Bowman Jackie Robinson, but that will have to wait. Next up, of course, the 1951 Bowman Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle, both rookie cards of two of the greatest players of all time. And, from a baseball card standpoint, you really can't have these. You can't have a Hall of Fame without these two cards. So no problems there with those two cards. 52 Tops, of course, one of the most famous sets of all time. And you have both the 52 Tops Mickey Mantle and the 52 Tops Willie Mays are both in the Hall of Fame. And of course, just recently picked up this card, the 52 Tops Willie Mays, that I'm super excited about owning. But these are two cards that are in the Hall of Fame. And then in addition to that, They have the 52 Topps Eddie Matthews is also in the Hall of Fame. That's part of the high numbered set. It's Eddie Matthews rookie, and of course, I have no problem with those cards being in. The 53 Pee Wee Reese, and this is a card that I'm super thrilled to own. Picked this up in Chicago a couple years ago at the National. Got it in a PSA 8. A lot of people, this sometimes causes controversy because a lot of people are like, so what? It's not even like a Pee Wee Reese rookie card. But it is one of the first action shots, and it's also one of the first cards ever that had more than one player in it. So a lot of people really like this action shot. It kind of looks like a really cool painting. I think this picture was originally taken in spring training. So just a really awesome card that I personally love, and I think 100% deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And then in addition to that is the 53 Jackie Robinson. So that, I think we're getting to the 30th card now, and we have the 53 Topps the 53 Topps Satchel Paige and the 53 Topps Mickey Mantle. Two really awesome cards there. The 54 Hank Aaron, of course, got to have Hank Aaron's rookie card in there. Then in addition to the 54 Hank Aaron, there is the 54 Al Kaline rookie, which surprisingly I don't own. The 54 Bowman Ted Williams, which is another huge card. The 54 Topps Ernie Banks rookie, which again, you know, not a big surprise that card's in the Hall of Fame, and a little surprising that I don't own that card. Then we start to get into some of my favorite cards, the 55 and the 56 sets. So 55 Topps, of course, you got to have the Roberto Clemente rookie in the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, from that same set, the 55 Topps Sandy Koufax. Such an awesome card. Both these cards are just incredible. The 55 Roberto Clemente and Sandy Koufax. The 56 Mickey Mantle, which is one of my favorite cards of all time. So that better be in there. Although Ray did say that he's only allowing 5 cards from each player. So I think if the 53 Bowman Mantle gets in this year, that would be it for Mickey Mantle. Next up would be the 1957 Topps Frank Robinson. Another card that I think is really underappreciated, undervalued, and a card that is surprisingly not in my collection, unfortunately. The next card, of course, the 59 Topps Bob Gibson, the Pepto-Bismol card. So some of these are just sort of no-brainers. Let's see, the 1960 Carl Yastrzemski, of course, got to have the Carl Yastrzemski rookie, although this one is a little bit controversial. I don't know if it's like an of course card. I think it's a really awesome card that I believe, you know, if you have 60 cards that are in the Hall of Fame, it makes sense for this card to be in there, but I could see why some people may not think this card is deserving, but I think it is. 63 Topps Pete Rose rookie. So this is another card that I picked up last year. I would not have been surprised if the 64 Rose, which is a lot of people really like the 64 Rose, if that made it into the Hall of Fame instead of the 63, but the 63 is in there. Let's see. Next up, the 1968 Nolan Ryan. And okay, next up is the 1969 Johnny Bench card, which I don't own. That's not the rookie card. It's actually the second year of Johnny Bench. I have Johnny Bench's rookie card, but I do not own his second year card. Next up is the 69 Topps Reggie Jackson. So this is his rookie card in beautiful PSA 8. That's a really awesome card. Let's see. Next up is, and this is another interesting card because it is a second year card. It is not Thurman Munson's rookie, which I actually just picked up his rookie, but this is the card that's in the Hall of Fame, and I totally agree with it. This is such an awesome action shot of Thurman Munson to the 1971 Topps. I'm a little surprised that this is the only 1971 Topps card that made the list, actually, because it's an awesome set. The 1973 Mike Schmidt rookie, of course, had to make the list. 1973 Mike Schmidt, and then a little bit of a surprise for me, which a card that I really love and totally agree with. Roberto Clemente's last card, the 1973 Topps Roberto Clemente card. So I really like this card. It's a card I picked up actually this year, got it graded. It came back as an 8, which I was super excited about. But that is a card that is already in the Hall of Fame. Let me see where I'm at here. Okay, next up is the 75 George Brett rookie. And if you guys check out the ballot, I believe the Robin Yount is on there it's on the ballot. So if you guys believe that it's unfair that the George Brett rookie is in the Hall, but the Robin Yount is not, then this is your opportunity to vote for the Robin Yount rookie. Next up is going to be, of course, the 1978 Topps Eddie Murray rookie. So, of course, you have to have that. And then similar to you got the 78. These are cards that these were always vintage cards for me, right? For me, anything after 1980 just feels more modern. But you got the 78 Topps Eddie Murray and the 79 Topps Ozzie Smith, both really awesome cards representing their years from 78 and 79. And then, of course, the card representing 1980, to no surprise, is the Rickey Henderson rookie. We don't have anything from 1981, but we do have, for 1982 Topps, we got the Cal Ripken rookie, the traded. So he has the base card where he shares a card with another player, but then Cal Ripken's first card where he's kind of by himself, the 82 Topps traded card, is in the Hall of Fame. There are no cards from 1983, and that for me is really surprising. And you'll see a card that I am voting for this year from 1983 that I think deserves to be in there. From 1984, of course, Donnie Baseball, 1984 Don Russ, Donnie Baseball, 100% deserving to be in there. And one of the, to me, top 10 greatest cards of all time, if you ask me. But of course, this is coming from a huge Don Mattingly Yankees, for me, this is a top 10 card of all time, for me. 1985, we have one card, and it is the Mark McGwire. Again, I have no problem with this. This is, to me, the greatest card of 1985, without a doubt. The Mark McGwire USA team card. 1986, we got one card, and it is the Jose Canseco rookie, the rated rookie. And again, when I did my first video back in 2016, 2017, I had this super high on my list. I think I had it like top 10, top 20 cards of all time. So, of course, I think it belongs, if we're talking about the top 61 cards of all time, baseball cards of all time, I think this definitely deserves it. Nothing yet from 1987. Nothing yet from 1988. And for 1989, we have two cards. The 89 Fleer FF error for the Billy Ripken. And again, the Baseball Card Hall of Fame is interesting because you got guys like Billy Ripken in the Hall of Fame. And then you have some huge names that are not in the Hall of Fame. And then you have, of course, the 89 Upper Deck Griffey, which for me is, right up there, top 3 baseball cards of all time with the Honus Wagner and the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. And then from a modern perspective, there are only 2 cards from 1990 on. 3 cards 1990 on. One of them, 4 cards, sorry. 4 cards from 1990 on. So we have 1990 score Bo Jackson. The card with the equipment on, which is an awesome card, Bo knows. The 1990 Topps No Name on front Frank Thomas error card, which is a huge card that I would love to own, but it's super expensive and super rare to own that card. But then beyond 1990, there are only 2 cards. So there are 2 cards. One of them is the 93 SP Derek Jeter in a PSA, well, I have it in a PSA 9, the foil Derek Jeter. And then Mr. Gets Hurt All the Time, just had surgery on his knee. And it's so, oh my God, so disappointing, by the way, guys. I mean, come on. I mean, he was leading all of baseball. It was so awesome to see him leading all of baseball when he got hurt. He had 10 home runs already early on in the season and then got hurt, of course. But anyway, the 2011 Topps update, regardless of the injury, I think 100% belongs in the Hall of YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. So those are the 61 cards that are currently in the Sports Card Hall of Fame. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in. Now, you guys can go ahead and vote. Click on the link if you want to vote on it. Like I said, it's super easy to vote, but I'm going to give you the 10 cards that I voted for. And they're all going to be very homer picks because they're all cards that I own. So I picked 10 cards that I own that I think they're 100% deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. You will notice that I am skewing a little bit more modern. I think that there is a little bit too much emphasis so far being put into vintage. I'd like to see some more modern cards get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So anyway, you'll kind of see that in some of my voting here. So although I will start with a card that 100% needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and I'll be very disappointed if this card does not make it in, the T206 Walter Johnson. Now, I understand that there are 3 cards that are already from the T206 set, but did not have Walter Johnson represented in the Hall of Fame. I think in our YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame is a big miss. I think Walter Johnson is, you could argue he's the greatest pitcher of all time. And so not having, for it to have as much vintage as we have in the Hall of Fame and not have the Walter Johnson is actually kind of disappointing. The 1949, so I'm going to pull them both out. The 1949 Bowman Satchel Paige. Now, the Satchel Paige to me is more obvious than the Roy Campanella, but the Satchel Paige, we have the 53 Satchel Paige as well as the 49 Leaf Satchel Paige. So, and this is the only other Satchel Paige that's not in the Sports Card Hall of Fame. And you could argue this card is probably more important than the 53 Topps. I was a little surprised that the 53 Topps made it in, but this isn't. So I think this is 100% deserves to be in. And then Roy Campanella, one of the greatest catchers of all time. And I just love, you guys know I love the 49 Bowman set. So I had to vote for these 2 cards. Number 4, and again, this is going to feel like, a homer pick, but I feel like Roger Maris has such a huge, he's so important, in terms of just the baseball history, him breaking Babe Ruth's home run record in 61, and this being his rookie card. I think it's really iconic and just an awesome piece of history. So I'm voting for the 58 Topps Roger Maris. Now, the one weird thing is that now this card, believe it or not, we don't have a representative from 1983. So that's part of the reason why I think this deserves to be in there. But the fact that Tony Gwynn's rookie card's not in there. Now, when you vote for it, it's the OPC, which is kind of like I'd rather it just be the Topps, the 83 Topps, Tony Gwynn. But to me, if the OPC gets in, then the Topps card gets in. I just feel like this image, this Tony Gwynn, rookie card belongs to be in the Hall of Fame without a doubt. One of the greatest hitters that I've ever seen. 84 Fleer updates, Roger Clemens. For those of you that grew up in the 80s, this card was like one of those impossible grail cards that you kind of heard about in magazines. And then Roger Clemens, I know the controversy around him, but he won 7 Cy Young Awards, won multiple World Series, with the Diamondbacks and the Yankees. So for me, he's without a doubt, this card is just so iconic. And then sort of related to that, of course, the 86 Topps. Now the one that's you can vote for is the Tiffany version, but whatever, 86 Topps traded Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, his cards belong in our YouTube Sports. I mean, we can't get him into the real Hall of Fame, so let's get him into the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. We already have Shoeless Joe Jackson in our YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, so let's get Barry Bonds in there too. Next up, so this may be a little controversial, but this card was huge growing up. The Leaf, the 1990 Leaf set was just this awesome set. Like, it followed the 89 Upper Deck set, and this was the card to get, the Frank Thomas rookie card. And, you know, Big Hurt, one of the best players, just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's the real Hall of Fame, so I voted for this card. The next card, so this is obvious. I do not have the Desert Shield version of this card, but I think the Desert Shield 91 Topps Chipper Jones 100% belongs to be in the Hall of Fame. It is such a cool card that, you know, was cards that were sent to our troops in the Gulf War. And I love that those cards exist, that they're super rare. And Chipper Jones, one of the greats. So I think this deserves to be in the Hall of Fame and very iconic. And then finally, one of my favorite cards of all time, the only player of all time to be voted 100% into the real Hall of Fame, get 100% of the vote, Mariano Rivera, one of the greatest, you know, Yankee pitchers of all time. And of course, greatest closer of all time. And then on top of that, the fact, you know, this 92 Bowman set was so awesome back in the day. And look at, and just like, I love this card of, like, it looks like he's in, you know, I guess he's in street clothes in Panama. You know, I don't know where this was taken, but I absolutely love it. And it's so just nonchalant, and I think would be a great addition to the Hall of Fame. Now, I have 5 cards that I think, you know, are not in the, now these are cards that are not in the Hall of Fame, that are not on the ballot. So I'm going to give you 5 cards that I didn't want to do too many because I didn't want to water it down. But here are 5 cards that I would love to see on the ballot either next year or in the future. So first off, the T206 Cy Young. So we do not have a Cy Young card in our YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. I am not a big fan of I think it's the hand down image. I don't know how that ended up on the ballot, but the portrait didn't. For me, the portrait, the green, this one is the one that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, not the one that's on the ballot right now. So I would love to see this card on the ballot, similar to the Walter Johnson. The Jackie Robinson rookie. So the 49, you know, we got the 49 Leaf in the Hall of Fame, but the fact that we don't have the Bowman Leaf Jackie Robinson is kind of annoying. It belongs either in the Hall of Fame or at least on the ballot. So the 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson, I think, belongs in the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, as a Don Mattingly fan, I believe that, you know, I don't think it's enough to have the 84 Don Russ Mattingly. I think this card was just as important. So you had, like, growing up, you had the 84 Don Russ and the Canseco were like the big cards. But then, you know, if you couldn't afford the 84 Don Russ, Don Mattingly, which a lot of us kids couldn't afford, we went after the Topps Mattingly. Now, this is the Tiffany. I don't care if we go with the Tiffany or the Topps version. I think the 84 Topps Don Mattingly belongs in the Hall of Fame, and I believe that if you put his card 84 Topps Mattingly on the ballot, it'll get in on its first try. So next up, the 87 Topps. Now, we don't have a card, I don't believe, yeah, we don't have a card from 1987 in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. And if I think the 87 Don Russ, Greg Maddux is on there, but to me, this is more iconic. This is the 87 Topps. It's you know, when you think of the future stars, this awesome future stars, you think of the Bo Jackson. And again, similar to the Mattingly, I don't care if it's the Tiffany or the Topps version. I believe this belongs on the ballot. And then finally, Clint Frazier. No, just kidding. Actually, this one's going to be controversial. So I need to explain myself. All right. So the Ronald Acuna. So one of the things that I pointed out earlier, right? There are after 2000, there's only one card that's in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame right now, and it's the 2011 Trout. When we talk about current players, right? So you clearly were underrepresented on the modern cards, and you can make an argument that, you know, they'll get their time. But with that being said, right, guys, so YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame needs a current card. And I think this Sapphire, the Ronald Acuna bat down Sapphire, deserves at least a consideration, right? You think about, when you think about the greatest players right now, you think about Shohei Ohtani, you think of Juan Soto, you may think of Aaron Judge, a couple other players. Ronald Acuna, right? None of those cards have like that one iconic baseball card pose. And for me, the bat down Ronald Acuna is that iconic, like Ronald Acuna, you could argue is the best player in baseball right now, although I know he started off slow. But, in terms of iconic images of current players, the bat down Acuna is got to be the way to go. And then you have the sapphire, like the fact that there's a sapphire bat down Acuna, I think should have a shot at the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. I know it's only been, it's only about, 6-7 years old, but I believe it should have a shot at the ballot and I don't care if you go sapphire or just regular tops, but I think this bat down Acuna deserves a spot in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. So those are my thoughts, guys. Ray from Philly, again, great job. Thank you so much for putting this together. I know this video's gone on a long time, but it was fun putting it together. Thanks, guys, for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, I'll put the link for the ballot. Make sure you vote by I think it's May 16th. Get your vote in, and let me know your thoughts. And thanks, guys, for watching, and I will talk to you later. Peace.